Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Elizabeth Davis if you're new here. I make videos about fashion, lifestyle vlogs, and makeup videos. So if that is your vibe, then please subscribe. Today's video, this is a series that I have been wanting to be more consistent with on my channel. Now, it's called Sipping Starbucks, so I'm cheating a little bit today because I haven't purchased Starbucks, but I do have a reusable Starbucks cup, and in this is water, which my water intake has been drastically low lately, so I don't even really want coffee. I just kind of want to drink, plus drink water, not drink alcohol. I feel like anytime somebody says I want to drink, it's like always in reference to alcohol. The main thing that sipping Starbucks is like I'll sit down and pick a topic. Like first time I did this, I talked about online dating and what online dating is really like. So I kind of want to continue on the dating topic because I feel like dating videos are always really good, and I have quite a lot of experience in dating, which I can't say that I'm actually happy about because dating is been a challenge. It has been a real challenge for me, y'all. And I've had a lot of heartbreak, and I've had a lot of ups and downs, and I've had a lot of excitement, and I've had a lot of tears, mostly bad. So, the number one thing that I have learned about dating is that you cannot take it too serious. We cannot get overly excited or like jump to conclusions one way or another, like good or bad. I need my Valentine's Day pillow in the background because it's cute and it's almost Valentine's Day season. I feel like it's easy to get discouraged, like because I'm gonna be 24 in March and I really want to find my person. Like, I'm ready to get married. I'm ready to discuss starting a family with somebody, but I haven't found the right guy yet, and I would have thought that by now I probably would have. So that's the one thing that I would just tell anyone is just don't take it too serious. Listen to every single thing that that person says, especially if you're ready for something serious. I made the mistake of hearing what they would say and thinking it would change. Like, I want, for me personally, I know what I want. I don't mean this in a judgmental way, but I want to be with someone who believes the same way as me, and that is I go to church, I have a relationship with God, I read my Bible pretty much every day, at least I aim for that. I pray every day, I talk to God all day long, and that's like the same, like the only kind of partner that it would work with me. So I also want my partner to talk to God, go to church with me, serve with me, help people with me. And I would constantly try to get a guy to fit that mold, which is so silly because I don't like when somebody tries to make me fit a mold, so I don't want to make someone else try to fit a mold that like they don't want to go to church, they don't want to have that relationship with God that I have, which is really sad to say, but that's just not the reality. Some people just don't want that. So if they don't want it, I'm not going to be able to change that about them. So, and that was just something so hard for me to grasp. Like, I wanted so bad to make certain people fit what I was looking for, and they weren't. That's just not who they were. That's not what they wanted, and that's not what I wanted. So it led to heartbreak and anger and resentment that I could have totally avoided if I just would have not dated that person and not been afraid to be alone. So that is my next statement while I take a sip of my ice water from my reusable Starbucks cup. You have to be willing to be alone if you're going to find that right person. Like I've said at the beginning of this video, I'm ready to get married. I'm ready to start a life with somebody and travel with them, and like, you have to be willing to be alone until you can find that person. And as cliche as it sounds, and people say this all the time, and it used to piss me off to no end, they would always tell me, work on yourself, figure out what you love, make yourself into a better person, be the person that the person you're looking for is looking for. I want someone who's going to go to church and serve and be a good person and love on others, so I need to do that as well, so that I'm strong and I'm ready for that person. I'm ready to make that commitment for them. I want to be as prepared for marriage or for a relationship as I can when I finally find that amazing person that I pray for on a daily basis. One mistake I've made, gosh dang it, I really wish that I wouldn't have done this. I would tell everyone about a date that I was going on. And I still kind of do this. And every time I regret it, because if the date doesn't work out, or if the guy's not interested, or if I'm not interested in them, like, I will have to tell everybody, like, go back and be like, oh, they're not interested, oh, I don't see it working out, this and that, like, telling everybody your business. Like, not that you can't be excited and share it with people, but you also don't have to tell everybody, which I am still guilty of, and that's something I still need to, like, not do, because it usually bites me in the butt. I got a pretty decent piece of advice from somebody that I work with. One of them is, don't date anybody without a driver's license. which I have done, and that just didn't end well. Another piece of advice that this particular individual gave me was, she said, you can't, like, you have to be physically attracted to somebody, but they don't have to be like the hottest person you've ever seen for you to maybe give them a chance. And I heard a pastor say this one time too, Jabin Chavez. Love him. If you've never watched him preach, you need to shut me off right now, because I don't know what I'm talking about, and Google Jabin Chavez preaching. He said one time, maybe they're not the hottest person you've ever seen, but you sit down and you have a conversation with them, and then they start talking about, like, you realize, oh, you guys have so much in common. Like, he loves Jesus, he wants to go out to eat with me. He was like, just, it was so honest and true. Like, give someone a chance. You could end up finding the person you're gonna marry, because you gave them a chance when maybe they weren't exactly what you thought they'd be, but then you sit down and you start talking to them and you're like, okay, he's actually pretty hot, or she's actually beautiful, whatever. I mean, I'm just throwing things out there. This is Bunny. He was behind me, if you didn't notice. I've had him since I was a child. Bunny has been with me through many heartbreaks. Another tip I have is, let the past go, okay? Don't go into your next date with somebody thinking about all of the past relationships that didn't work out and all the times you were fooled and heartbroken. Like, don't even, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. You've got to move forward, because if you want to find your person, that's not the way to do it, is by bringing past baggage along with you. If you bring your baggage from your past into your new relationship and your new date, that's just not going to end well, because that person may be a really good guy or a really good girl, and she may or he may be just what you're looking for, okay? So, like, don't bring your past into it. Don't talk about your past relationships. I mean, if it comes up in conversation and they ask you about it or whatever, sometimes that happens, but don't go with the intent of talking about it. Like, go with the intent of avoiding talking about it. Like, just completely forget about it. It just doesn't matter. I remember one date I went on and I talked so much about my past hurts, not just with guys, but just in general. And I think it was a turnoff to him, and he actually was like, you know, I'm just feeling friendship towards you. And I really, really, really believe that was a big part of why he wasn't feeling it with me, was because I was a little bit negative, and I was a little bit kind of unfair as far as other people goes. Like, people make mistakes, people are going to hurt you. It's a fact of life. You are going to hurt people, you are going to make mistakes. So once you you need to deal with that, and don't talk about it with the next person, at least on the first date, because, like, I talked about it on the first date, and then I was like, when I went home, I was like, oh my gosh, why did I share all of that with him? And then he ended up being like, yeah, I'm not into you. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I feel like that I didn't represent myself in the best way. And he's like, no, it's not that at all. And I'm like, really? I don't believe you. And the very last thing that I want to say is, don't push someone away. Don't do that. I lived with regret for like a year for pushing someone away. And I shouldn't have lived with that regret. I mean, I've dealt with it now and realized that it was probably for the best that this particular relationship didn't work out. But I pushed him away, and I was scared, and I read into things, and I was in my head, and none of those bad things that I thought were happening were actually happening, and it obviously broke us apart. And I'm not placing all the blame on myself either here, but I do to this day wonder what could have been if I had been a little bit more trusting. and taken a risk and been like, I was so afraid of heartbreak that I caused heartbreak to end up happening. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, okay, I could get my heart broken, or I could fall in love and this could be the best thing that ever happened to both of us. But I was so afraid of heartbreak. And like I said, I'm not putting all the blame on myself, but I do think that I do wonder what could have been if I hadn't held on to that fear so tightly, and if I just would have loosened my grip a little bit and been a little bit more receptive to him and open to what we could have become, even though we weren't that right when I wanted it. If I had just been a little bit more patient, like, I'm a little bit curious what might have happened. You can be nervous, like that's normal, but letting fear grip you that bad, first of all, that's not even biblical. Like, from a biblical standpoint, when I read my Bible and God speaks to me, I believe God can speak to us through his word, and in general through life lessons. Fear has no place in our life, especially as followers of Christ. We don't have to have fear. Like, God takes that fear from us and replaces it with his love, and if we don't let him do that, we basically rip him of the chance to show us his love, and we rip ourselves of that chance to experience his love. And that's the number one thing that I think I regret about, I don't regret it, but the thing that I want to do differently now is let God love me and fill that void of wanting somebody, which I believe that I have done that at this point in my life. Gosh, this is so hard to talk about because I was so mad at myself for a really long time that this relationship didn't work out, and I blamed myself. But really, it was a spiritual issue for me, like internally. It was an internal issue where I was not letting God love me the way that I should have been, and fear gripped me, and I held on to it, and I let it like take over me, and like it wasn't worth it because I got my heart broken. I was very sad, and it hurt a lot, and it didn't work out, and that's what broke my heart. And I'm fine. Like, I survived. I don't have issues from it. Like, it's not something that affects me anymore. Like, yeah, I was hurt, and you know what? I moved on pretty quickly as far as, like, the hurt goes. Like, I still wished that it had worked out, but, like, I didn't have that pain, like, of the heartbreak anymore. And I was so afraid of it, yet it went away so fast. You know what I mean? So it seems like the end of the world in the moment, or like you're afraid of feeling that heartbreak, but it really just doesn't last that long, especially in a short-term relationship. If it's long-term, you know, that might take a little bit longer to get over, but even still, it's not as bad as we make it up to be in our heads, especially if we let God fill that void when we are heartbroken or when we are afraid of heartbreak. Yeah, I don't know. That's just what I've learned, and I've learned a lot through dating, and I've learned exactly what I want and exactly who I want to be with, and I'm not going to settle. And that's the very last thing that I will say. Do not settle. I'm not going to settle. I want to make a pact with all of you guys that watch this video and anyone else in my life to not settle for anything less than what God has for me. And that goes for any area of my life, but specifically this area, I don't want to settle. I want to be with exactly who God wants me to be with, and I know he has somebody for me, and I know that he has me for someone, and at the right time we're going to find each other, we're going to get married, and it's going to be the best thing in the whole wide world, and I'm so excited for it. So that being said, let's raise our reusable Starbucks cups with water and cheers to the fact that God has somebody for us. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe down below for more sipping Starbucks. Next time I will have a real coffee or drink from Starbucks, I promise. I hope I do, at least. And I will see you guys in my next video. Adios.